Hi, Dr. Kleins. One of the key questions that I'm asked again and again is how much should I spend money on digital as a doctor, as a clinic, or as a hospital, and how much should I rely on the traditional old mouth-to-mouth publicity, health camps, and other ways that everyone is. So, a more a direct answer to it is a concept which is called direct revenues or revenue direct. How much of the percentage should be a direct revenues? These are two angles you need to understand, really important. And all of these concepts are very much intertwined. But once you are understood from the concept angle, you will understand why it's very important. So, what is these two ideas? How much money should you spend on the digital marketing in your budget, and how much you should rely on the balance of the traditional mouth-to-mouth publicity, referrals, health camps, and other activities? What should be the optimum mid-balance proportion in terms of marketing? Uh, what I personally believe is one reason that even though I make my bread and butter from digital agency, and I'm particularly known from a digital agency guy, uh, the big trouble with the entire digital is in one entire year, the entire digital changes dramatically. So, for example, if some person is doing Google ads for you in one year, there are entirely new trends and new upcoming things, and there are new policies and new things that have come. All of a sudden, new technologies, new stuff have come in the digital world. That is why Google or Facebook, if have to renew the Google AdWords certification every year. So if I'm a person who's doing Google ads for my clients, pay per click ads, I have to renew my certification every year. So the validity, I have to give an exam, I reappear in the exam every year, uh, from the Google ads and the Facebook ad, and they qualify me. I have to pass that exam, and the validity for this is only 1 year. The reason for this, why Google and Facebook take it very seriously, is they understand the part which you as a doctor need to understand, that digital in 1 year changes dramatically. So what you are not understanding is, it doesn't affect you very much in a 1 year short term span, because we are not understanding, we don't know all the details about what is going at the global level, but Google and Facebook have, and they do understand that entire digital in 1 year goes dramatically change. So the point here is, what you as a doctor, as a hospital owner, need to understand is, if you are relying too much and you're spending too much money on digital, you are relying too much on digital activities to generate your leads and patients. That means every year you have to spend money on digital activities to generate more leads and patients, because every year the digital is getting renewed. So you might have the same digital guy, same digital agency, or the same trustworthy friend who's running doing digital for you, and he will come to you and he will say, I'm spending money on you digital year on year. Why can't we cut the cost? And that guy will say, sir, every year the digital actually dramatically changes. How can I help you with it? Right? So the point is, your safety as a doctor needs to understand that if you are over dependent on digital activities on the digital marketing fund to generate those new leads and the new patients, every year you need to shell out money. It might be there might be some small fluctuations in terms of budget, but you need to spend money every year, because you're over dependent on the digital marketing to generate those patients, new patients, and leads, and the sales, right? So the solution to it, and what I'm coming to is what should be the healthy mix of the digital marketing, mouth to mouth publicity, traditional referral. Ideally, according to me, should be 50-50. 50% of your money and budget should go on the digital marketing activities. Now, assuming that you are running you have already applied the zero cost methods, and now you are still following, still needs to have more sales and patients and leads coming in. This particularly is more applicable in a multi-specialty and the hospital setup, where they need lots of surgery cases and of OTs and operation theaters, and the beds occupied, ICU units occupied. So this is where they have to actually, in order to run that bigger show, they have to generate more revenues and more spend money on the digital. So the healthy mix should be 50%, 50% on the digital marketing and there's new things that is there, and 50% should be on the traditional mouth-to-mouth publicity, health camp, and self-dependent. I say it in a very different other layman language. The layman language is, revenue direct. So what is your percentage of direct revenue? So direct revenue is in terms of your leads and patients. So now I'm not talking about how much money you need to spend on the digital activity, which is the first answer I gave you. 50% ideally. Ideally maximum 50% on the digital marketing activities, so that you are not over dependent on digital for generating those new leads, sales, patients coming in, right? And 50% you still have self-dependent on the traditional marketing activities. Now I'm talking about a totally different angle, which is from the patient's angle. So we are not talking about how this patient or the new lead have come. We are talking about the revenue direct. So that new patient that have come in terms of revenues, from where is it getting sourced? Is it getting sourced from some paid marketing activity, or is it getting sourced from the mouth to mouth publicity, your health camps, your referrals, your internal, whatever is the activities, your internal direct sales team? If you're running a hospital or multi-specialty, you will have one or two full-time sales guy or two, three full-time telecallers. So is it coming because of that, right? So here we are not thinking from the time how much money you are spending outside budget. Here are thinking about the revenue direct. So direct revenues, how much? So from the revenues angle, we are going back. We are thinking that how much of this revenue is coming from my internal activities, how much in terms of revenues and patients are coming from my internal activities, and how much for to generate how much more revenue I need to shell out money on the marketing of it. Irrespective whether it's the traditional marketing, you're giving a newspaper ad, or you're sending the email brochures, or you are sending on the digital Google ads. I don't give a damn what kind of marketing activity you are doing it. I just understand that you have to shell out money. So and the direct revenue is, what is the direct proportion of the revenues in terms of patients, how much of these patients, overall patients, or the overall new sales leads and sales inquiries is coming from your traditional mouth-to-mouth publicity, your core team, your own sales team, your mouth-to-mouth, your referral, your health camp, whatever internal traditional things that you are going, which doesn't cost money, which is already a planned monthly expenses, predictable monthly expenses going on, regular monthly expenses going on, right? So this concept I call is a direct revenue. So now we are thinking from the direct revenue. So how much of this direct revenue is coming from my own activities, on which is my own self-dependent, which is the monthly predictable planned average monthly revenues, and for how much more leads in order to run my business, run my hospital show, how much extra patients or leads is coming from any kind of paid marketing, irrespective whether it's a digital paid marketing or is a newspaper ad or whatever other, but I have to shell out money to get that new patient, new extra revenues coming in. So once you have understood these concepts, now do some brainstorming and control experiment and you will have your answer. So I gave you the right answer. The first answer is, we are explicitly asking me how much in terms of money budget you need to spend in terms of digital, and what should be a healthy mix between digital, mouth-to-mouth publicity, referral, and others. I told you, 50% ideally should be the maximum you need to spend digital. Reason being, digital every year, the trends changes and the entire thing changes drastically. And so if you are over dependent on digital in order to generate leads, patients, sales coming in, every year you have to shell out money, because every year the entire digital changes and it's changing dramatically. Nowadays it's changing much more faster, and this is going much more expansive, and the patient's expectation have also increased. Like anything, they have also become very demanding. So one way you can actually cut down on all these unnecessary marketing budgets and mixes is if you are relying more on your self-dependent and making sure you're not spending more than 50% in terms of on the digital marketing, and making a healthy mix of that is 50-50, 50% on digital marketing and 50% is spending on the traditional marketing. But this is actually the half of the picture, because the entire zero cost methods is focused about using the free things and optimizing all the freeways. So the right approach ideally should be the direct revenues. So what is the direct revenue percentage? So what is the direct percentage of the revenues, patients, sales, direct inquiries are coming from my predictable, my own self-dependent, my own predictable monthly, whatever is the your own sales team, your mouth-to-mouth publicity, your referrals, your health camps, whatever your internal things are going on, which doesn't cost money, and how much of the percentage of the revenues and the patients sales is coming for which I need to use any kind of market, shell out money and use any kind of marketing. So this thing will give you a more concrete activity from a typical Banya Buddhi layman understanding, which I do understand nowadays, rather than putting it in the MBA jargons of percentage and the bar graph and the pie chart and all these complication stuff. you know these things, we don't need to go with the public limited companies and do just the paper filing for paper filing and satisfying a big shareholder committee. We need to understand that you as a doctor, and majority of the cases are privately held, are owned by the few good-hearted doctors, and they have to spend their own money and build it from scratch. Their entire life goes on building that hospital thing. So rather than going with the unnecessary complication, make it so simple that you understand that how much of the revenues are coming directly, for which you need to, from your own team, your own internal activities, which doesn't cost any, which is the predictable monthly expenses. Like your sales team, you know exactly, yeah, you need 3 or 4 sales guys every month. You have X amount of their salary going on, right? So if they are generating major chunk of your revenues coming in, major chunk of your patients coming in, you are doing a really good job. And you have to shell less money on the digital or any other paid marketing or newspaper ads or whatever other ways coming in, right? So that will give you a more self-dependent way of generating patient. The more you are self-dependent when it comes to marketing, any kind of marketing, the more you are powerful and internally strong, and more you are competitive. Because the only reason in this mouth-to-mouth publicity hospital line you will be really strong and become self-dependent is when your real care and the mouth-to-mouth publicity in your local area is so strong that you don't need to shell out money to to advertise about yourself. People know that you are good and they are coming to you and they are satisfied. That's why they are themselves walking in, or your sales team is approaching and they're giving a positive response to it, right? So that comes that gives you that real genuine success and self-dependence, and you have to shell out less and less money on the marketing sales angle, right? So hope I was able to explain you these two concepts, which are both very very much interwoven and both are really important. So thank you very much for your time.